Hello and welcome to Sobrix. I'm Adam and this is Sobrix. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Lego DC Batman with the Batmobile versus Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze set. This is set number 76274. It has 435 pieces, and I paid $60 for this set. This is based on the Batman the Animated Series, I believe, which is pretty cool. I do like that it's not just black. I actually was looking at that Scarecrow Harvest of Fear set somewhat recently, and that Bat helicopter in that set had some blue, and I kind of mentioned that this set was coming out. This is a set that officially releases on August 1st, 2024 as recording this. I was able to get this one early as well as some of the botanicals, and I mean, theoretically I could have bought a bunch of stuff early. For whatever reason, this August 1st drop, because there were so many new sets coming out, a lot of stores I found all of these sets put out there, but this one looked interesting to me. I was interested to see the scale. I like that it's kind of play but also maybe display oriented here. I like looking at Batmobiles and all the different versions. I'm excited to see one from the animated series. Not so sure about the price yet. I think the last Batmobile and Batwing that came out in this play scale were like, I think they were maybe $38 for the Batwing and like 40 something for the Batmobile, and so this one is way more. It's coming right out of the gate at $60. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. I kind of anticipate thinking that's too much, but I'm going to still kind of go into it with an open mind and compare this to other Batmobiles I've looked at, including some of the more collector ones, like the one from the 60s, like the Adam West one, and all of the other ones I've looked at. So excited to look at this, grateful I was able to get this early, and so I'm going to get into it. So in this video, I'm going to open this up, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I will speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so we look at the build for this Lego DC Batman with the Batmobile versus the Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze from Batman the Animated Series. I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like the video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot, means a lot to me. And then I wanted to talk about the build. So we start out here kind of with the base of the vehicle. This is super solidly built. We have several different Technic bricks kind of making up the chassis of this, which is really, really nice. There's a little bit of a feature for the rear axle there, a little function, super basic mechanism, but very cool. Onto the next bag of pieces. We're going to keep kind of building this up a little more, add on the kind of where the front bumper is going to be, a couple stickers in this set, and then we work on the rear here. I thought it was interesting that we made use of some like hinge pieces that have those 2x2 kind of plate kind of hinge there, but we like stud them down, and that was a very interesting use of pieces that they don't use a ton, but they made good use of it here too. They don't necessarily have a piece that fits that same kind of use case, so I think that's really nice. I loved how the grill came together, or kind of the front end of the Batmobile here, and then we work on some kind of smaller maybe sub-assemblies for the rear end, and we keep kind of building this out, tiling it out, adding in some of those 1x2 kind of bricks that have the bar element in the middle, and then finishing out kind of the hood there. We do clip these in, a little bit of upside down building to complete kind of the brick build fender area there, which is nice. And then on to the last bag of pieces, we are going to have some of the final touches for like the bat wings at the back of the vehicle, as well as all of the tires, the flame piece for the jet turbine, the canopy, and everything else that goes in here. And then we also make a little bit of a stand, kind of a display stand with a information placard as well to kind of show this off, which is very cool. And we're nearing the end here, so now on to my review for this set. Okay, so here we have the brand new Lego DC Batman, the Batman with the Batmobile versus Harley Quinn and Mr. Freeze from the Batman the Animated Series. So this is pretty interesting, and there is some stuff in here that I really, really like. And there's kind of a lot to look at, so we will get into it. And the first thing we will look at is the minifigures. I believe this is a brand new kind of Batman because it's based on the animated series. It is a little bit different here. So right off the bat, we have the cowl. This is the one that has the dual molded white eyes in there. So you can see the white plastic in there. So that means the minifigure head no longer has like kind of the band or anything around it. We do have an alternate face here. There's no hair or anything for Bruce Wayne in this set. Then we have the cape. I believe this is also a new element. It's kind of that stiffer but sort of rubberized cape, kind of like the polybag version of the Michael Keaton one, but without like the attached. It's not attached to the cowl or anything, so it does go around the neck there, but that's really, really nice to see that. The cape works great. It also, the way that it kind of goes like this allows the minifigure to sit here, which is huge. Plus it just makes it look kind of flowy and cool there, which is really nice. Looking at the torso, we got the emblem, utility belt, some musculature. It's kind of low res. It feels like the animated series, which is really nice. Nothing on the midsection, but then we get dual molded legs, as you can see from the side and from the rear. And there's also printing up on the legs as well, which is great. I didn't expect that. I feel like I don't see a ton of Batman figures with dual molded legs, and it's really nice to see that here. So I think a lot of this stuff is new, or it could have been in the Batman the Animated Series kind of art set that was up on the, like, goes up on the wall with like the Gotham City skyline and everything. Maybe that had some minifigures in it, and maybe this is in there, and I'm not sure what else. I have been getting some things wrong about new pieces and this and that and the other thing. So this could be a figure that we've seen before. The cape could have been something that we've seen before. To me, these were new elements. I have seen the dual molded cowl once before, I believe, but I'm hoping that becomes more common. It just depends on what they're going after, what kind of Batman from what property, I suppose. So I was very, very pleased with that. Surprisingly, no Batarang or accessories in this, which is fine. The next one we have is Harley Quinn. So there are different versions of Harley Quinn, including the one that's like really, really expensive from the Welcome to Apocalypseburg set, but this one is cool. It actually reminds me a little bit of the Lego Batman movie CMF one and some other Harley Quinns we've seen. We do have the hammer here, which is nice, using that flat, round, inverted tile, which is a relatively new piece, and then the printed wood tile there, which is great. So that's the accessory, and then Harley Quinn has this kind of classic red and black kind of checkered pattern. Unfortunately, I think for the face and for the frills around the collar, they're a little bit pink-ish. The white over the red is just not great yet. It still should be less see-through in my opinion, but the hat's really good. I think it is just printed, not dual molded or anything. So all the black over here and the white little tassels are printed. We do have an alternate face, so we can see the one face here and then another face there with the mouths kind of in different position, but both the faces feel kind of pink to me, and I think they should be whiter. Same for the little frills around the collar. Would like that to be whiter, but then the actual like costume for the torso is pretty good. We got different colored arms, different colored hands, a little checkered pattern in here, as well as some definition for their body here. We do have a little bit of printing on the midsection, which is just to have this little black stripe over there. And then we do have printing on the legs with some diamond patterns over there, as well as on the feet, which is really nice. Looking at the back, just kind of have the same sort of checkered pattern there. Interestingly enough, you can see a little bit of the alternate face underneath here, but not too much, just can peek out a little bit there. But I think this is a good figure. Yeah, I think there have been ones similar to this before, or maybe this exact one before. I'm not 100% sure, but it feels very similar to me to other Harley Quinn figures I've looked at in the past. And then the last one we have here is Mr. Freeze. This is interesting. I looked at a Mr. Freeze figure not too long ago, but this is specifically the Mr. Freeze from the Batman the Animated Series. So they do have a stud shooter, tile shooter accessory here with a bunch of these tiles, 4 of these little 1x1 tiles, rounded tiles that can go in there. These are an interesting color. I do not think they are white. They might be that like really light aqua, kind of a bluish pinkish white. I'm not positive. They could be white, but for whatever reason they don't look like white Lego to me. They look a little bit different to me, but I am colorblind, so I'm not sure specifically what color those are, but those can be loaded in here, and Mr. Freeze can, you know, blast these freezing projectiles at Batman or at the Batmobile or something like that. If we remove that, then we have what I think is a new piece here, but I'm not 100% sure. So for the suit, for the kind of thing that goes over their head, their cryogenic sort of mask thing, I think this is a new piece. I don't believe this is... It's like smaller than some of the other like domed pieces. Maybe it's not a new piece. I don't know. Have I seen this used for like the Red Hood before? Maybe. Have I seen it used for Mr. Freeze before? I don't think so. I think they usually use the one that kind of has like a slight magnification effect to it and has more going on. So this feels like it might be new to me, but I could be wrong about that. Let me know in the comments. If it is new, it works well. It fits nicely over the minifigure head and meets up at the minifigure like shoulders of the torso there. Studs onto the top. Without that on there, we can see the face with some nice detail around the like cheeks, and then the goggles are really good with the eyes there. There's no alternate face. We just have the back strap of the goggles. Looking at the torso, this is pretty interesting. There's kind of some metallic stuff in here, and it looks to me like there's almost like some striping that's going on in there, but I can't tell if that's on purpose or not. It almost looks like there's like vertical stripes in there. A little bit of color up the side, but this is like kind of metallic and cool. I don't think it's quite drum lacquered, but maybe like a pearl silver kind of gray metallic thing there. Same in there, as well as the printing on the side, and this around the belt or the stomach area. Nothing on the midsection, nothing on the legs, nothing on the arms. So this one could have been better, but you know, again, based off the animated series, this feels about right. And then we have the Batmobile. So 3 minifigures here. The Batman I was really impressed with. Harley Quinn's pretty good. I just wish the printing was better. I think Mr. Freeze is good enough. It would have been nice if they were detailed a little more, but maybe this is accurate and fine. In some of the other Batmobiles that I would maybe be tempted to compare this to from recent years, you know, they have maybe only come with 1 or 2 minifigures. This one comes with 3. But that certainly is something to consider at the end. The next thing we'll look at is this, because this is a big reason I really wanted this set. This is a little display stand. So we do have the big sticker here on the ramp piece, which does say Batman the Animated Series Batmobile, with some little info down here and the kind of Batman over in the corner there, which is nice. This can spin. And then underneath that, I think they've done things like this before, where they make kind of this octagonal kind of platform with these Nexonite shields in a really nice way. And then we just have the turntable in there with another plate in between the disc and the turntable. So this can go on there, and then the Batmobile can be put on here and kind of angled appropriately. I think that's nice. This isn't a ton of pieces, and it is nice to make this kind of, it's a play model, it's an 8+ age rating, but also for like adult collectors and people who want to display stuff, or just for like storage or whatever. I feel like this is really, really nice, so I appreciate when they put these in here. It kind of reminds me of like the XL-15 or whatever the Buzz Lightyear ship was. It was like not a display set, but it kind of was a display set, which is really, really cool. So I like that. And then the rest of the set is this Batmobile based on the Batman the Animated Series. So we can get into this. This has this really nice dark blue color, which when I was looking at, like I said, the Batman Scarecrow Harvest of Fear that had the Batcopter, it had a little bit of blue in it, blue and black and gray. And I'm excited to see kind of the dark blue represented here in this. It feels great and true and accurate to the animated series, but also it's just something different, which is really, really nice to see. And this is awesome. I mean, this is pretty big. At the back here, it is 10 studs wide. Up here, it is like 8, but that's pretty huge, I would say. You know, it's much bigger than Speed Champions or something like that. I don't know what the actual dimensions are necessarily. I might be able to measure it quickly. So if we go like this, it's almost 10 inches long, or how many centimeters? Maybe 24.5 centimeters long or something like that, which is a good size. And that was only going from here to here, not including the kind of turbo jet engine thing here. So this is big. It's very solidly built. There's some nice techniques in here. I have a feeling there's maybe at least one new piece in here, potentially more. I have to kind of think about it a little bit, but right out of the gate, I think this looks great. The profile is really, really nice. It's got a lot of mass to it, actually, so this is pretty substantial building up here. I like the brick built fenders a lot, and we'll just kind of go through this. It starts with a pretty solid base with Technic bricks. So you can see some back here, up here, in between there, as well as up here. So there's lots of Technic bricks and some pins to make the core kind of chassis for this. And then we do some stuff to build up on the bottom, a little bit of that to hide, to make the colors like consistent, so you don't see some of this stuff underneath there. And there's a little bit of empty space in here, like under the hood a little bit, and sort of in the middle, but not a ton. And then we mostly do studs on top stuff throughout here, but there is a few exceptions and changes there. So overall, I think the shaping is really nice. It has like, this is very boxy, but like just the difference between the tiles here, just that one level, having like this slope go inward, and then this angled plate being angled there. The slight increase here, it feels very like sharp and angular and nice. I like how round it is up front. The grill is done exceptionally well, I would say, or like the hood area here, using these angled plates as well as some jumpers underneath to kind of get them offset like that. I think it looks great from the side, looks great from the front. I think they really, really nailed that. Up at the front, we do have lights. Those are stickers. So there are stickers in this set. Like I said, this is a sticker, not a print. The 2 lights, and then there's 3 other stickers in here, but these I don't mind too much. I would have liked if they were printed, but they would have had to print 2 different pieces for these, unless they made these a little bit different. So it's fine that those are stickers, and actually the color match is not too bad, so that's all right. And then the other stickers are all inside, so none really like out here on the side. All this other stuff is brick built detail, which is really, really nice, but it is pretty symmetrical, like right to left, or almost perfectly. So looking at one side here is pretty similar as looking at the other side. So they have a lot of similar stuff, how the fenders are done, how like all the different curves and the lines here all work. Looking at it like top down, you can see it's 8 wide and flares out towards the back, which is really, really nice. And it does mean that the kind of axles, like the back axle, is a little bit wider than the front axle there, which is cool. The back of this is really great. So looking at the back here at kind of the engine exhaust sort of thing, we do have lights back here. We have this really nice shape and outlined design by all of these kind of wings and tails and things. So from the side, we have a lot of this studs on the side building here to kind of make these bat wings like off the back. And there's some studs on the side building there, and then using this nice tile to kind of finish that off. There's also the curve right on the inside of that. Again, some studs on the side, links up around here, frames the use of this fender piece here really well. Also, like these curves in here kind of match up with these up here, which are very similar kind of wing things, kind of closer in there, a little bit smaller. Same on the other side. Overall, I think all of this work back here is really nicely done, nicely designed, and it looks really, really great, and it's pretty like stable, and it just frames up the jet turbine at the back really, really well. There's a feature here, the flame piece, which is kind of that dual molded gradient sort of orange and red, or reddish orange kind of in yellow potentially. In here they use the gray barrel piece for the turbine, like I said, framed up really well by this fender, and that's attached to some Technic gears here. And so the rear axle, when that drives, it does spin the flame at the back, or spin the jet turbine, and it works really, really well. Super easy mechanism, and not a big issue at all. So I think that's really cool, satisfying sound and good function that just works all of the time. Love the back of this, how this looks over here. Like these sides, and then there's some internal stuff. So there's not a ton actually. This, for as big as this is, this vehicle only fits one minifigure generally, which could be a concern with the set, but I'll talk more about that a little later. So we do have kind of the cockpit area here. It's set pretty far back, but that feels accurate, feels cool. And you open this up by flipping this open. So we do have this 4 wide canopy windscreen piece, just with the 2x4 tile on top, and it's clipped on in the front. This is the like newer dark translucent color there, or dark black. And then inside we have the kind of cockpit or the driver's seat or something. And this is interesting. There's actually 3 stickers used in here. So those are the last 3. Control panels kind of over on the right, and maybe some display. Same over on the left, and then the screen there. We also have the bucket handle used for the steering yoke in there. It's actually a little bit hard to see those because of how covered up they get by these angled plates. If I pop those off, you can see more of the details for the different stuff in there, which is fine. I don't mind stickers that are like internal like that. They just feel like they add detail in a nice way, and they're not like crazy visible. I'm actually very fine with stickers used for inside stuff here. I was curious if Batman would fit in here with the cape on and with the cowl on, and I'm very pleased to say that they do. So there's kind of a weird way. There is kind of a lot of room in here, but if you want to stud them down, it's a little bit tricky, and that's because there's not a ton of studs underneath there. There are the couple in the back, but then this is using this piece that is like has studs all around the outside, but then has tile for the rest of it, this 4x6 piece there. And I think you can get the front legs kind of studded down, something like that. We can just barely see the whites of the eyes through there, which is cool to be able to see, but they do fit in there with the cape, with the cowl on, which is nice. There are these two studs that are kind of raised up above that tile section. So they're a layer up, and you can get kind of the lower part of the leg to stud onto those. And even if you don't, because of the cape and because of the limited space in here, there's not like too many places they can go. So I wouldn't be too worried about getting it studded down. I like to, but it's not a big deal. And once they're in there and this is closed up, I'm not too worried about them moving around. Whoops. And then I don't have these pieces on, which can make it even more tricky to get them in and out, because it does, overlap and close up a lot of that space. They're easy enough to put on and take off, but we can get Batman in there, which is great to see. And then one of the other functions of this is very obvious. We have these stud shooters up here. Now, I believe in the animated series and in other versions of the Batmobile, these are retractable and come up. And I thought, did the last one have that? The last Batmobile Joker chase one that was $48 or something. I want to say that they might have had a feature there. I know I've looked at a Batmobile that has a feature to release the kind of stud shooters or action features and then hide them back and then put them up. This one doesn't have that, so it doesn't have a weird knob anywhere to make it asymmetric or to stand out, which is nice for display and everything. And they did kind of find a way around that, because these aren't really studded down. They are just like that. So we can pop those off of there to make them look like they're retracted. We have this gray kind of bit in here that sort of maybe looks like they're gonna pop out of there. And then there's some upside down building here. So this is the underside of an inverted tile, a 1x3 that does have the hole in the middle. And what we do here is actually, let's see if I can get one of these off. I'm not sure how studded down anything is in here, but you can see there's some upside down building, and then the way that they're attached is clipped on. So if I can get this off of here and get this all back together, essentially these pieces, so this is part of the fender, tile under here, two clips right there, they clip on to those pieces in there, which is really, really great. I love how nicely this comes together to frame up the tire here to make the fender. I love that that's all brick built, so that's really nice. And then it does allow for the functions so that if you wanted this to be driving around without these stud shooters deployed, you could, or tile shooters rather, you could have them taken off. There's no like storage form or anything on here, which would have been neat, but not a big issue. And then they're very easy to put back in just by taking that plate with the kind of bar attached to it, and that goes right into that hole there. So those attach, which is really nice. Excuse me. I think it looks good with them attached and deployed. I also think it looks good without them, so I think that's a real success. We do get 8 of these red translucent tiles here, so those can be loaded up in these stud shooter, tile shooter type things. There's not really any place for storage for those, unfortunately. I thought there might be, just because like underneath some of this stuff in here, let me see, it might be all kind of covered up now. There was some empty space underneath here that I thought maybe we could utilize, but it does not appear that that was designed that way, and could be maybe modified, but I'm not sure. Of course, there are places you could stud them down, but there's no like box or place to put them, which I really would have liked. You know, this is such a big vehicle, and it only and it's dense and it's heavy, and it only has room for one minifigure. You know, these aren't retractable, and not like there's not a way to store these, and there's also not a way to store the projectiles, and I think that's a little bit of a missed opportunity because there is just so much here, and I get that it's relatively dense. It is like big. I just think like storage for these kind of things and other additional features would have really like pushed this over the edge into like a greatness. I think right now as it stands, it's pretty good, but in terms of like play and stuff, it's maybe a little bit lacking. I will say there's still an issue. Certain pieces just have mold marks, and some can be avoided and some cannot. So there are certain pieces that it's just like a certainty that you're going to see a mold mark, and I wish that wasn't the case. Pretty much these tiles up here, no matter what side you're on, you're going to like see one of those. There's something over here that has them. Same over here, right there. Those might be these kind of slopes actually that kind of get hidden inside there. This piece here and this one doesn't have it, so maybe I can spin that one around. There just are a few pieces that have mold marks, and because of like the way this goes together, some of them are visible, some of them you can hide, some of you cannot. These are like the main one, because I think that piece is this piece here, this 2x2 kind of slope piece, and I think that's just the back of it, the upper side and the back there. Same on the other side, so those are going to be visible no matter what. Maybe this one here I can spin around, but there is some good technique in here, and I think there's perhaps one new piece that a piece that I'm not familiar with, not one I see, but could be extremely useful, and that's this piece right here, the back part of this fender. So that is a 2x3 on the top, and then has a bracket of a 2x2 coming down. So it looks really, really useful and kind of interesting, and I think for brick built like fenders and stuff, it's a really great choice. Let me see where I'm at to see if I can. Okay, so it looks something like this. So it's this 2x3, and then coming down it's a 2x2, and it has that curve kind of molded into it as well to give it some extra strength there. And this is where you're seeing those, they have those slopes connected to them, and that is where we are seeing that mold mark there. And so because that's on that side, no matter what, those are going to be visible. But I did I did think this piece was nicely used. It's not a piece that I see very often if it isn't like brand new. It is not used a ton, but I think utilized really well in here. And then the back also has the same kind of system with the clips and different stuff back here to complete out the little fender areas. So there is some good building in here, kept me guessing, which is really nice, and it looks pretty cool. Couple little features there. I'm not sure where this is supposed to attach. I think I was liking it attached kind of to that like tile piece, or that 4x6 that is part tile and part plate, or like has studs around 3 out of 4 edges. And I feel like that's nice to balance this and get this in a way on the stand that looks right. So yeah, this can spin and you can have this off at an angle. The one on the instructions here does have it kind of sitting at an angle there, but it does cover up a bit of the infographic and the kind of plate, or the plaque here with the information, but it does like fit on there. It just attaches with the 4 studs, so I don't, it's not gonna like hold on there forever, but it's a pretty good connection. It's pretty solid considering how heavy this is. I don't know how heavy this is. I could probably weigh it and see, but it's looking like about 11 ounces for this whole thing. Yeah, I would say probably a little slightly under 11 ounces, which is, not nothing. I would say that's pretty hefty for a vehicle like this. I don't have a great thing to compare it to right next to me. I'm sure some of the other like sets, like all the vehicles from the Lego Batman movie, might be more expensive, or more weight, more volume, different stuff, but this is pretty good. And I think that's everything I needed to talk about here. We do have the sticker sheet, like I mentioned, pretty fine with all of those, and I think that's that. For the villain characters here, or just the other minifigures you get, they don't really have a ton to do. There's not really a place to put them. There's not, they don't get their own like side vehicles or anything like that. I think maybe a little more with them, a place to, have them interacting with something could have been really nice. And I do think there was room in this set to make some of that happen. But first, I'll show the extra pieces so we can see those. You do get some, nothing too crazy. Your 1x1s, your studs, your tiles, a little bit of Technic in here, the mechanism for the stud shooter, tile shooter things, an extra of Mr. Freeze's, as well as the extra of the one for the Batmobile there. So all your 1x1 pieces, your light pieces, tiny pieces in here, the bucket handle, steering yoke piece, those are all your extra pieces. And this set is 435 pieces, 3 minifigures, and it retails for $60. So that's too much, I think. I thought that the last Batmobiles that we were looking at were also overpriced a little bit, which is a shame that we're seeing this one go go even further. The price per piece is not great, and I think it doesn't really make up for it a ton with the figures or anything here. I'm trying to see Batmobile Batman vs. the Joker chase has, let me make sure here, has 3 more pieces than this. That one has 438 instead of 435. 2 minifigures. You do get the Joker, and maybe the Batman in here for the animated series is better than the one from Batmobile versus the Joker chase. That one was $48, so $12 cheaper, which is considerable. I mean, it's 20% cheaper right off the gate, because if we took $12 off of 60, we're getting to 48, and so this would be 48 at 20% off, but that's a little bit, I think that's too much. And I want to say that oops. Let me see here. I want to say that this one had a feature where the little like turret things, although they weren't active stud shooters, they did pop out of the kind of front of the car. It had a lot of similar stuff. Maybe some more detail, but I kind of like the low res like version of this. I like the animated series version. I'm glad that it exists, but it feels overpriced. Now, the other thing to consider is that other one that I'm talking about, 76224, doesn't have the stand, doesn't have the placard here, even if it's a sticker. It has one fewer minifigure, which is something, and the Joker minifigure in that set is not the most incredible Joker. The Batman's not the most incredible Batman, but in terms of value wise, like, I don't know if these minifigures in particular add a ton for me, especially if they're $5 a piece, which I don't necessarily think they are, but if that's what the kind of value approximation is across the board, it's just a $5 difference there. Batman and Joker versus Batman, Harley Quinn, Mr. Freeze. That set does have slightly more pieces, and so I'm not sure why this is $60 here. It just feels kind of bad. And frankly, when that set was $48 with 438 pieces, and I think it only came out a year or two ago, I wanted that set to be cheaper too. I thought that maybe the Batwing should have been 35 to 32 or something like that. I'd have to go back and see what my exact thing says, what I called it for back then, and that maybe the Batmobile Batman versus the Joker chase should have, instead of been 48, it should have been maybe 45, or less, or 40. 45 I probably would have been fine, but that's not too big of a difference, but it is enough of a difference because this is just creeping us close to $50. And now with this one, they've went up and above that and went straight up to $60. And I don't feel like I got $60 worth of Lego here. For some of the more collector stuff, I think I paid a good amount in the aftermarket for like the television version, the older one, that does have a display and stuff like that. I feel like I did pay a little more for that. I might have paid $60 or something for that one. I want to say it's the 60s, but I can't remember. Like kind of the classic Batman Batmobile, the Adam West style one. And I think I might have paid a lot for that one, but that's a little bit different. And this doesn't feel like it hits the mark for me at $60. I think, if anything, I would have loved for this to be the same price as the last Batmobile, the one I've been referencing here, Batmobile Batman versus the Joker chase. I think, they're very similar in size, in scale, a little bit of differences in some of the things, differences in some of the features. I don't know if there's specifically like recolors in this to get to the dark blue. I don't think so. And it hasn't been that long. Nothing about this, I mean, while I think it's a really, really good model, nothing about this is like, oh my goodness, this is so good that I'm fine with it, which occasionally I will feel about, for example, a Speed Champion car, like, because the quality of those has been so high that the change from 25 to 27 was like somewhat understandable to me. Here, going from like maybe $48 up to 60 doesn't really make a ton of sense, and I don't think I got a ton more value in this. So for me, if I didn't already buy this and didn't already look at this and give my thoughts on it, I probably would have wanted to wait until this was maybe 20% off, bringing us down to 48, when the other one is 20% off. And so it's like $9 and whatever, 60 cents off or whatever, bringing it down to just under $40. Yeah, that's great. But I don't like having to rely on sales and 20% off discounts. I would like the manufacturer suggested retail price to be more reflective of what's in the box. And, I think this one will probably sell well, but I don't think the price makes a ton of sense to me. And frankly, I think it's overpriced for what you get in the box. That said, I loved the build. I loved the model. It's just not enough Lego. So that's what I mean. Like maybe a little more functions in here, a little more features, some storage or something. Even if the storage is not like directly on the vehicle, something a little bit of like city, a little bit of Gotham for these characters or vehicles, or some other accessories for the kind of more villain characters, the Harley Quinn and the Mr. Freeze, to be placed on, to interact with, some different stuff like that. And I think they had room for that at this price point. And the piece budget for whatever, they probably have room to add more pieces to this to kind of make some of that a reality. And I think that would have made it make a lot more sense. So some extra features in here, some more kind of side stuff would have then made it like closer to a $60 thing, even if they only add 65 more pieces or something, and that's a little bit of a Gotham City street view thing, or little other accessories or something, that still puts it at like the 500 piece mark. But that little extra bit might make me more into the $60 price point. So that's all a long way of saying I think this is slightly overpriced, which is a bummer. It's not too different from the last one. I thought the last one was overpriced. Lego's expensive, and I was grateful to be able to get this early and build it and talk about it and stuff. But I don't think it's the best value for the money. It is very, very good and very fun, and I am glad that they made it. So that's that, but a bit overpriced, and I think that's it. So if you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including more Lego Batman, more DC, and then more like August 1st, 2024 releases, tons of other stuff from all different themes, all different shapes, size, price point, piece count. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming Lego videos. Subscriptions help me a lot, so if you haven't subscribed, maybe consider doing it. It is very, very helpful, and it means a lot to me, so thank you very much. And then if you wanted to support the channel in a different way by giving money to the channel, financially supporting the channel, you can do that here on YouTube with membership supers and thanks. And I have the Patreon. It's in the video description on my channel page, patreon.com/sobricks. You get some little benefits with that, and it's just a big help. So it's not needed, it's not necessary, but if overpriced sets like this do take their toll, and I'm gonna keep doing this no matter what. But if you want to like help give back, there's avenues for that, and it is appreciated. So thank you very much. And with all that said, until next time, thanks, bye.